right over the start of the bend of my hook. So a little bit past the barb on this hook. I'm going to reach in, just throw a big open loop on there to kind of trap all that down, and some nice big spiraling loops coming down to the start of the bend of the hook. Then I'm going to come back up, get that wrapped in that thread, pull this part up and out of the way. Now, with this part, I'm going to reach in here and trim this waist off. So I'm going to hold it up at a little angle. I'm going to trim it off at a little angle. And as I bring my thread over, what that's going to do is it's going to pull all of those pieces of that barb, of that marabou, right down. Catch some more of that in there. And that's going to help fill all of that in, build that bulk in there that we need to get a nice even body. There we go. Yeah, it's got a pretty flat body working there. Bring my thread back up to the bead one more time. Now I'm going to go all the way back down. At this point, we're going to put our next two materials in. So the first of those two materials is some silver thread or some silver wire. So I'm going to take this piece of silver wire, and you see I've still got a little bump right here. So I'm going to start my wire here at the back to that point, and when it ties in, it's going to end up nice and smooth right there. The next thing is a little piece of Black Bugger chenille. And bugger chenille is known for having little bits of flash built into the fiber that they wrap this chenille out of. And we're going to come here to the very tip of it, and I'm just going to pull some of those fibers off. Okay. Now, by pulling those fibers off of those inner core threads that are in there, I seem to have some barbs that want to just fight with me here. Get all this fuzzy that has come up here. You can see that that thread grabs onto that. Now that's locked in there pretty tight. So we're going to come down, wrap over that, get right down to the end, right here at the bend of our hook. And now we're going to put one good touching wrap all the way around. That's going to cover everything up and get me all the way back up to the bead. Now we're going to put the woolly part in. Now the woolly part is done by using a nice soft hackle. This is a hand hackle, but it's a strung hackle. Some people might call it schlappen. It's not really schlappen. It's just various feathers. But this has got a bigger, softer barb to it. This isn't as stiff as some of your dry fly hackles, like whiting or some of those. Those are made to be nice and stiff and stand out straight. I want to do this so that it moves. The woolly bugger works because it undulates underneath the water. It traps air bubbles. It has movement to it. And fish key in on that. So they want that. We're going to trim that little bit of that tip of that off. I've tied this in by the tip. And now I've got two ends that I'm working at the same time. Our next step here is to take our chenille and wrap it. So we're going to wrap that around, bring our chenille touching wraps all the way up the shank of that hook. And right when we get behind the bead of the hook, we're going to take our thread, we're going to go twice around that chenille and then bring our thread up over And that's going to secure that chenille right there on the end. I'm going to take my serrated scissors here and just trim that off. Now, we're going to go to the other end. We're going to take this, and I'm going to take my hackle and grab it with a pair of hackle pliers. Now, I like to use typically the English hackle pliers. For some reason, they just work better for me. I do have multiple sets of different hackle pliers here. And I'm just going to big open wraps around. This is palmering that feather around. And unlike a dry fly where I'm trying to get those perfectly standing straight up, this I wanted to be a little sloppy. I wanted to go into a bunch of different directions here. And you'll notice that I put this on here so that my fibers are pointing, they're cupped towards the bead of the hook. I want that. That's going to catch the water as it goes through and really make a difference. Now I've taken my hackle pliers, I'm using some gravity to hold on to that last little bit of stalk of rachis that's there. I'm going to catch it with my wire, and then I'm going to do some nice evenly spaced open spirals. But as I go in between the fibers here, I want to come in and wiggle between those barbs that are right there. This will give it some kind of a ribbing look, not as accurate as some of the dry flies or nymphs that we tie, but this will also help bind down all of that hackle. That's going to make a good durable fly, because you hook into a big fish with one of these, they can tear it up, that's for sure. I'm going to make sure all my barbs are pulled out from under that wire, so I've got nice, good. Now I can bring my hackle pliers back up a little bit, and I've got that little tiny little bit of the end of that feather right there. I can just give it a little snip, and there it goes. Last but not least, we're going to finish the end of this by helicoptering off that little bit of wire. With some tough wire. There it goes. And then I'm going to use a whip finish tool. This is Martinelli, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 turns of that whip finish tool. Pull it out, get a nice tight knot on there, and give that a little clip. And that, my friends, is a nice looking woolly bug. Now, some of the options you can do on these is you can do under one color and black over top of it. You can do purple, you can do chartruse, you can do white, you can do red, you can do yellow, you can do brown, you can do olive. There's all kinds of different color combinations of this. This is a great producing fly. Toss it out, let it drip, toss it out, give it some strip back action. Bounce it across the bottom. This works so many different ways. This is a great little fly. Hope you enjoy it. From attainableflies.com, this is the Woolly Bugger.